Top stories tonight in Y News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. shares confidence that the Philippines will not fall into recession amid the soaring inflation.
United Nations Special Rapporteur on the sale and sexual exploitation of children, Mama Fatima Singhate, paid courtesy visit to the Department of Justice to discuss the situation of child sexual exploitation in the country.
The Makabayan bloc expresses concern over the contributors of the Maharlika Wealth Fund suggests to find other sources of funding.
And the Time magazine names Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy as the Person of the Year.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Thursday, December 8, 2022. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am William Theo.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Harding Delgado.
First in the news, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. expressed confidence that the Philippines will not fall into recession amid the soaring inflation. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said that despite rising inflation, he is optimistic that the Philippines would not experience recession because of the continuous drop in the country's unemployment rate. President Marcos Jr. underscored that his administration has been prioritizing the generation of jobs for Filipinos since the beginning of his leadership.
Kaya kahit papaano ay hindi malakas ang loob natin, hindi tayo magkakaroon ng recession dito sa Pilipinas dahil masyadong mababang unemployment rate. At kung maalala ninyo sa pagsimula namin dito sa administrasyong ito, pinag-usapan na namin ay trabaho talaga ang aming uunahin. Kaya yan ang nakikita ngayon natin na nangyayari. Pagpatuloy lang natin yan.
Preliminary results of the Philippine Statistics Authority latest labor force survey released on Wednesday, December 7, indicated that the country's unemployment rate dropped to 4.5% in October, lower than the recorded 7.4% unemployment rate in October 2021 and 5% in September this year. The PSA survey likewise showed that the number of unemployed Filipinos decreased to 2.24 million in October from 3.5 million a year ago, with 1.26 million securing employment this year. According to PBBM, his administration is working to find ways to cushion the impact of high prices of basic goods on ordinary Filipinos.
Gumagawa kami ng marami pang ibang paraan para maging mas magaang sa bulsa ng ating mga kababayan itong napakabilis na pagtaas ng presyo ng kung ano-ano mga bilihin. At asahan ninyo na lahat ng paraan na maaari nating gawin ay gagawin natin para pababain ang inflation rate at gawing mas mabagal man lang ang pagtaas ng presyo.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
United Nations Special Rapporteur on the sale and sexual exploitation of children, Mama Fatima Singhate, paid courtesy visit to the Department of Justice, or DOJ Secretary Crispin Boying Remulla on Thursday, December 8. They had a short meeting over the situation of child sexual exploitation in the country. Dante Amento tells us why.
Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla disclosed that the Philippines is allegedly number one over the child sexual exploitation cases in the world. Remulla has briefed United Nations Special Rapporteur on the sale and sexual exploitation of children, Mama Fatima Singhate, during her courtesy visit at the Department of Justice, or DOJ, this morning.
We're number one in the world. Dapat mawala na ito. Yun ang effort talaga ng gobyerno ni Pangulong Marcos na itigil na itong ganitong status ng Pilipinas. Nangunguna tayo sa child sexual exploitation.
The DOJ also discussed with the UN official some measures being taken by the Philippine government to combat such crimes. These include the ratification of the SIM card registration law and subsequently the crafting of its implementing rules and regulations or IRR.
The urgency of coming up with implementing rules and regulations sa SIM card registration kasi yan ang nagiging tool. Hopefully, hindi maging mahirap ang magsusulat ng IRR kasi kumita na naman sila tama na. Dapat naman sana yung mga bata pangalagaan natin.
Remulla added he has urged Congress to expedite the release of the SIM Card Registration Act's IRR.
Para immediately maging executory na at ma-identify na natin lahat ng perpetrators. Kasi habang ganyan na nangyayari, hanggang ngayon, prepaid pa rin ang ginagamit nila para prepaid sa 3G, 5G, 4G, mga data plans ng telco ang ginagamit nila sa karamihan ng mga kaso ng child sexual, online sexual exploitation at syempre sa pagbubugaw din ng mga bata.
UN Rapporteur Singhate is already over 1 week in the country. She visited some local government units and talked to the law enforcement agencies involved in the campaign against online sexual abuse and exploitation of children in the Philippines. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
An agricultural group recommends an investigation on why the price of onion in the market is still high. The Agriculture Department is about to decide whether to import onions or not. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
There is still enough supply of red onion based on the visitation and cold storages conducted by the Samahang Industriyang Agrikultura or SINAG. The group's chairman, Rosendo So, said that the price from the cold storage is only 141 pesos per kilogram. It is double compared with the prevailing retail price in Metro Manila markets at 280 pesos per kilogram.
Dapat ma-check yung mga retailer bakit ganun kataas.
Based on the latest data of the Department of Agriculture, around 10 tons of red onion are already in the country's inventory. But they will decide tomorrow if there is a need for importation.
Tsaga-tsaga lang muna tayo kasi yung apektado tayo dito pag yung nagbahalang sibuyas at sabihin mo mura nga, but the problem is sira naman yung mga industriya natin. Sa atin na naman yung babagsak, hindi lang naman sa atin mga magsasaka.
Smuggling is still a problem in the country according to SINAG. Even the bigger size of red onion can be bought in the market.
Namomonitor namin out of 400 containers na reefer ban na dumadating, 200 lang ang registered. So, ibig sabihin, kalahati ang money.
The government seized smuggled onions in various ports of the country.
So, ang sibuyas, mukhang infested na. Delikado sa industriya natin at saka sa ating mga kababayan.
A different variety of onion is now available in the market and could be an alternative for consumers. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Several senators view the removal of the state-run pension funds from the proposed sovereign wealth fund as a welcome development. But the minority bloc maintains that such fund is unnecessary and will face a challenge in the upper chamber. This report will tell us why.
Some senators welcomed the amendments made by House lawmakers to the proposed Maharlika Wealth Fund. Amid concerns from various sectors, the authors of House Bill 6398 removed the Government Service Insurance System or GSIS and the Social Security System or SSS from its mandatory fund sources. Senate Majority Leader Joel Villanueva thanked his colleagues in the lower chamber for heeding the call to remove the two state-run pension fund institutions as sources of the sovereign wealth fund to protect the retirement government funds and benefits of workers. He also proposed the revenues from the mining and plastic industry as alternative sources of funds. Senator J.V. Ejercito also called it a welcome development. He noted that the proposal is now similar with his proposed welfare fund filed during the 17th Congress, wherein the funds will be coming from the country's reserves and surplus. The lawmaker emphasized that he will not support any measure that will gamble on pension funds. Ejercito has yet to confirm if he intends to refile his proposed measure in the 19th Congress. As of now, there is no counterpart bill for the proposed Maharlika Wealth Fund in the Senate. However, Senate Minority Leader Aquilino Coco Pimentel expressed reservations on the proposal. The senator questioned the push for such wealth fund despite the country's deficit and growing debt. When asked if the bill will now have a better chance in the Senate, Pimentel said, "Any idea which keeps on changing and was rushed will always have a more difficult time in the Senate." Senate Deputy Minority Leader Risa Hontiveros also noted the supposed piecemeal provisions of the bill. The opposition senator also thanked the authors of the bill, but stressed that the proposal must undergo deliberation and consensus among members of both chambers of Congress. She also took note of the need to examine if there is a really and enough excess funds at the two government-owned financial institutions, the Land Bank of the Philippines and the Development Bank of the Philippines, as well as the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas as sources for the wealth fund. However, Hontiveros maintained that the country does not need and cannot afford a sovereign wealth fund. Meanwhile, Senator Francis Tolentino wants to wait for the final version of the House bill before commenting on the issue.
Dahil nga hindi sa amin galing yun, hands off muna ako.
Earlier, Senate President Juan Miguel Big-Zubiri said he will ask a select group of senators to study the proposal to know if the sovereign wealth fund is necessary and to place safeguards to avoid misuse and corruption. Jorlin Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And for our news abroad. After 30 years, a new coal mine was approved in the United Kingdom despite climate change concerns. From London, United Kingdom, here's Joanna Ochoa to tell us the details live. Yes, Joanna?
Jonna, a mine in the northwest of England, Cumbria, was proposed to dig up coking coal for steel production in the United Kingdom and to be exported across the world. This after UK's Levelling Up Secretary Michael Gove approved the country's first new coal mine in 30 years despite climate concerns among his colleagues and experts. The local council granted permission to dig up coal from the mine until 2049. This aims to reduce the need to import coal from the United States or Russia, which is less damaging to the planet, according to Chris Whiteside, a local Conservative councillor. Although it could also potentially create around 500 jobs, Shadow Climate Secretary Ed Miliband says that the mine is not the solution to the energy crisis and it won't offer secure and long-term jobs. Senior Conservatives also added that the mine would conflict with the UK's climate targets. This conforms with the opposing parties and environmental groups that say that digging up from this mine is harmful to the climate and the UK's transition to a greener economy. The approval of this project was suspended in early 2021 when the government's climate change advisor said that it would increase carbon emissions. But the Secretary of State for Levelling Up, Mr. Michael Gove, insists that the carbon emissions would stay neutral. Meanwhile, Friends of the Earth argue that this is a mistake that is deeply damaging, misguided and unnecessary, and that will only add to global climate emissions. Jonna?
Thank you, Joanna, for that live report. Indonesia has gained spotlight after overhauling the country's criminal code that attracted criticisms from many human rights groups. The controversial overhaul criminalizes sex outside marriage, including defamation against government. Mae Viandog will tell us why.
Hashtag Semua Bisikana, or everyone can be charged, is trending on social media in protest of the Indonesian government's latest law criminalizing sex outside of marriage, which does not only apply to Indonesian citizens but also to any non-citizen visiting the country. The law, which passed unanimously in Parliament on Tuesday, December 6, was part of Indonesia's overhauling of its criminal law. Minister of Law and Human Rights Yasona Lawali said they have tried to accommodate different views, but it's now time to leave behind the colonial criminal code that the country has inherited. Offense against sex outside of marriage will be punishable by 1 year of imprisonment and cohabitation by 6 months. Charges can only be based on police reports filed by the spouse, the children, or the parents. Under the new criminal code, promotion of contraception is illegal and abortion remains to be a crime with some medical exceptions. Revisions included defamation article, noting that blasphemy does not only apply to religious beliefs, but to all belief systems. It prohibits insult against the president, which could lead up to 3 years of jail term, insult to the vice president, any state institutions, and to the country's national ideology. United Nations Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Association and Peaceful Assembly Clement Vol tweeted his concerns day before the enactment of the law, stating that the law will obstruct on human rights. Growing concerns on the new law due to take effect in 3 years is not only seen by many as encroaching on human rights, but will also affect Indonesia's economic growth as it could dampen the tourism industry. Mavian Dog, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
From being an actor, comedian, movie producer to becoming Ukraine's president in 2019, Volodymyr Zelenskyy has been awarded as the 2022 Person of the Year by Time magazine. The Time magazine also recognized different people behind the spirits of Ukraine. Nerissa Danda will give us the details live. Yes, Nerissa?
Good evening, Giona. The ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia has been on the headlines since February this year, leaving many people in admiration for Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky's courage and strong leadership, inspiring hope for the Ukrainians and other people across the globe to unify in the fight against Russia and for peace. The award was given to President Zelenskyy and the spirits of Ukraine, referring to Ukrainians all around the world and to many who are on the ground and have done remarkable things. It includes the likes of 35-year-old chef Levhen Klopotinko, who fed thousands of Ukrainians, medic Yuliya Tyrapayevska, who was captured by Russians and released after 3 months of captivity. Zelenskyy gained even more popularity across the world for his courage and leadership when the people saw him make a choice not to flee Kiev, but instead to stand by the Ukrainians and despite advice to flee the country like what other previous leaders have done in the past and gone into exile. Time magazine has also awarded Russian President Vladimir Putin as 2007 Person of the Year 15 years ago. Fiona?
Thank you, Nerissa, for that live report. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, William.
Yes, thank you, Giona. The Makabayan bloc still expressed concern over the contributors of the Maharlika Wealth Fund after government financial institutions such as the GSIS and SSS have been dropped. The group suggests to find other sources of funding for the MWF. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
The people's taxes will still be used as funds for the proposed Maharlika Wealth Fund, according to the Makabayan bloc. ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro explained that it might be possible that the 10% remittances of overseas Filipino workers might be used as funding for the Maharlika Wealth Fund. She also reiterated that the country does not have any surplus funds.
Nananatili yung katotohanan na tayo ay wala talaga tayong surplus, wala talaga tayong wealth. Kung titignan natin kung titignan natin yung ating mga yung ating records, kaya kailangan na itong ibasura at iset aside.
Naninindigan tayo na dapat tuluyang ibasura ang panukalang ito dahil sinasangkalan pa rin niya ang buwis ng mamamayan para sa kaduda-dudang pondo na nasa kontrol ni Marcos Jr.
Based on the new amendments, the three contributors for the MWF are the Development Bank of the Philippines or DBP, Land Bank of the Philippines, and the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or BSP. 50 billion pesos will come from Land Bank while 25 billion pesos will come from the DBP. The House Committee on Appropriations, meanwhile, had yet to discuss the amount coming from the BSP. Gabriela Party List Representative Arlene Brosas said that if the government still wants to push for a sovereign wealth fund, the investment money should come from a different source.
Kung gusto talaga ng gobyerno na magkaroon ng pondo, tanggalin nila ang confidential at intelligence fund, ayusin nila ang prioritization sa budget ng mamamayan, singilin ang mga big-time tax evaders at maglaan ng pondo para sa batayang serbisyo na direkta sa mamamayan.
Other sovereign wealth funds such as Norway, Kuwait, France, and the United Arab Emirates get their funds through surplus funds and foreign reserves. They also tap their profits from national resource extraction such as oil and gas. Experts also say the country can also use its profits from mining to fund the MWF. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Getting delayed with your booking on Grab taxis, the ride-hailing company admits shortage of partner transport network vehicle services. JP Nunez tells us why.
Grab Philippines has informed the public of the possible difficulty they might encounter when booking a ride using their platform this holiday rush. EJ De La Vega, the head of mobility of the firm, said that only 40% or 4 out of 10 from their partner transport network vehicle services or TNVS returned to their platform with the easing of health restrictions.
For riders or passengers, we can expect the difficulty in getting a ride. It is quite challenging in general, given it is the Christmas season, people are mobile.
Sab Marcelo, who booked a ride from Grab yesterday, explained the scenario of getting delayed from her booking. Instead of getting a 4-seater sedan unit, she was able to get 6-seater SUV, which then she paid more expensive from Valenzuela to Manila.
Gaya kahapon, nakapag-book ako ng Grab papuntang Manila. So from Valenzuela, to compare it, it's too expensive compare before. And then I've noticed din yung 4-seater is ang less na niya. Tapos once na nag-book ka ng pang 6-seater, yun mabilis, and then it's too pricey for one person to use a 6-seater, car.
Grab Philippines previously called on the board to reopen the slots and enhance their onboarding process to quickly get more drivers in their platform to address the shortage. According to Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB, on May this year, they have opened 7,000 slots for the issuance of provisional authority to new TNVS. However, only 2,500 were able to process their application and send the necessary requirements. LTFRB Executive Director Roberto Peig said the board is considering to reopen slots for new TNVS registration.
Initially po may basis para i-grant po yung request. It's just that kailan at kung ilan.
As of today, there are more than 7,000 units of TNVS given permit by the LTFRB, which the agency considers to be stable number to serve the commuting public this holiday rush. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The local government unit or LGU assured the public on Thursday, December 8, they will intensify the firecracker ban in Davao City. Angel Sumagaysay, the head of the Public Safety and Security Office or PSSO, said the monitoring of hospitals in the city will be on heightened alert on December 24, 25, 31, and January 1st to survey firecracker-related injuries and gunshot wounds caused by stray bullets to ensure the safety of Davaoeños as they celebrate the holiday season. PSSO told it is in line with the City Ordinance 060-02, also known as the firecracker ban, which restricts the possession, use, sale, manufacture, and distribution of pyrotechnic devices across the city. According to Sumagaysay, the dangerous use of improvised bamboo cannons is also prohibited under the same ordinance. He added they have already oriented the city security forces for the total implementation of the said ordinance, and a memorandum has already been sent as well. The security cluster aims to keep Davao City's record of 0 incidents of injuries and property damages relating to firecrackers. First-time violators will be fined 1,000 pesos or 20 to 30 days of imprisonment or both. The second-time offenders will be fined 3,000 pesos or 1 to 3 months of imprisonment or both. And the third-time violators are fined 5,000 pesos or 3 to 6 months imprisonment or both. The penalties also apply to improvised pyrotechnic devices that use lighter fluid or any materials that are combustible and can potentially start a fire, and will not be limited to firecrackers that use gunpowder. However, pyrotechnic devices traveling through the city will be allowed passage as long as the parties involved can follow the instructions or guidelines from the higher headquarters on how they can transport their products to the other provinces.
The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, will resume its voter registration on December 12, 2022. To promote and further encourage the public to register and vote, a COMELEC official guested in Wish 1075 bus. Gladys Tuabi has the report.
4 more days before the voter registration begins. Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, continues to implement ways to make registration accessible to the public.
COMELEC is continually bringing the service of the government to the people. And not only that, we're constantly improving the services. Binabalak po namin na mas ilapit pa yung serbisyo ng pamahalaan sa inyo, mas paginhawahin po yung ating pagrerehistro, yung ating pagboto sa mga susunod na halalan.
To further promote and encourage the public to take part in the voter registration and exercise its right to vote, Spokesperson Director John Rex Lodianco guested in Wish 1075 bus to personally invite wishers and the Filipinos.
Help us maintain our democracy. Come and join us in the voters registration so all of you can vote in the succeeding elections.
Voter registration will run from December 12, 2022 to January 31, 2023. Along with this, COMELEC will be implementing Register Anywhere project to pilot in National Capital Region. Those residents who are currently in the National Capital Region, or NCR, yet want to vote in their respective provinces can register in the assigned registration booth: SM South Mall, SM Fairview, SM Mall of Asia, Robinson's Galleria, and Robinson's Place, Manila.
You can execute the application form, swear it before our administrating officer. We'll take your picture. You go and sign in the signature pad. We'll take your thumbprints, and we will be the one to send those data to your city or municipality, and we will ensure that your name will be included in the voters listed.
This will run from December 17, 2022 to January 22, 2023, Saturdays and Sundays. Meanwhile, overseas Filipino workers are encouraged to register starting tomorrow, December 9.
To all our overseas Filipino workers or Filipinos who intend to or will be abroad by May 2025, you can now register as an overseas voter starting December 9. This will be opened in all the posts, embassies, and consulates throughout the 92 places abroad where we have embassy.
Wish 1075 bus doesn't only support OPM and international artists. It also willingly support in spreading important and informative messages beneficial to the public. Gladys Tuabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Former Peru President Pedro Castillo's presidency has come to an end. The former president was arrested for the crime of rebellion and impeached by lawmakers. Therese will tell us why live. Yes, Sharice?
Good evening, Fiona.
The former president of Peru, Pedro Castillo, was arrested on Wednesday, December 7, due to his plans on wanting to dissolve Congress and install an emergency government, which, according to Peru's ombudsman, that it is an attempted coup d'etat or an unlawful seizure of power from a government. Castillo also wanted to work on a new constitution, leading him to call for parliamentary elections. This action failed to prevent his impeachment in Congress due to the fiery reactions from top officials, condemnation from regional neighbors, and various resignations. The ceremony included 101 members in the 130-person legislative body who voted to impeach the former president. However, Dina Boluarte, the former vice president, stepped up to the presidency role, making her the first female president of Peru and the sixth president in under 5 years. The current President Boluarte gave a statement about Castillo's dissolution plan on Twitter, describing it as a coup that aggravates the political and institutional crisis that Peruvian society will have to overcome with strict adherence to the law. Many countries such as the US, Argentina, and Brazil have shown their concern to Peru, calling Castillo's actions a violation of democracy and the rule of law. Castillo was detained by police in the capital city Lima after lawmakers impeached him in Congress. Back to you, Jonah.
Thank you, Cherise, for that live report. The High Court of New Zealand has made a decision to take partial custody of a 6-month-old baby to proceed with the heart surgery. Monica Canlas will give us the details.
A 6-month-old baby's urgent heart operation has been delayed as parents demand for blood transfusion coming only from donors with unvaccinated blood against COVID-19. Health authorities turned down the parents' request for unvaccinated blood as it was unnecessary and impractical. The New Zealand Blood Service Agency does not label blood donations based on the status of donors' COVID-19 vaccination as there is no proof of extra risk. Failed to agree, the health authorities took legal action to put the baby under medical guardianship of the court until the recovery of the baby. The Te Whatu Ora Health New Zealand Interim District Director Dr. Mike Shepherd said in a statement that it is a tough circumstance for everyone involved and the decision for the application was made with the best interest of the child. Monica Canlas, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Uber has been sanctioned by the Australian Federal Court to pay a fine amounting to 21 million Australian dollars for violating the Australian consumer law. Paul Gatchalian will give us the details live. Yes, Paul?
Fiona, the ride-sharing company Uber was fined by the Australian Federal Court with the amount of 21 million Australian dollars or 14 million US dollars after Uber's admission that it has engaged in deceptive conduct. The case was filed by the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission or AC on April 26, 2022. Uber breached the Australian consumer law when the company advertised at least between December 2017 up to September 2021 that passengers may be charged a cancellation fee if the trip was cancelled, regardless if the cancellation was within the free cancellation period. Uber's admission included that the price range displayed in the app as a price estimate in Sydney from July 2018 to August 2020 was false and misleading, as estimates were higher than the actual fare. The suggested penalty was originally $26 million by the ACC, which Justice Michael O'Brien has lowered down to $21 million due to the evidence to support the said amount being inadequate to justify the proposed fine. Aside from the fine, Uber will also pay 200,000 Australian dollars to ACC for the costs incurred for prosecuting the case. Meanwhile, ACC chair Gina Cass-Gottlieb has also made a statement that this will send a message to businesses about the severity of misleading customers with the cost of products and services. Back to you, Giona.
Thank you, Paul, for that live report. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Giona Pravado, live from London, United Kingdom. Good evening.
Flag carrier Philippine Airlines or PAL on Thursday, December 8, said they have set contingency plans in case of visibility issues at the Lawakan Airport in Baguio City after the successful test flight last November 28. Thus, it will not cause the cancellation or suspension of a flight for the Cebu-Baguio and vice versa route. The airlines is returning to the city of Pines after almost 30 years when the flight to the route was suspended. PAL spokesperson Shelo Villaluna mentioned planes coming from Cebu will have to return or diverted to Clark in case of visibility issues until the weather clears. Villaluna added their company would like to establish connectivity between the Visayas and Northern Luzon, where residents can connect to the Queen City of the South via 2 hours flight. Starting December 16, 2022, PAL's direct flight from Cebu to Baguio will depart from Mactan, Cebu at 8:50 a.m. and will be at the Lawakan Airport at 10:50 a.m., while the flight from Baguio to Cebu will leave the city at 11:10 a.m. The said flights will take place every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sundays. PAL's target passengers are local tourists, residents of Northern Luzon and Central Visayas, and foreign travelers.
Some labor groups and contractors have supported the proposed bill that will mandate insurance coverage for construction workers. Benedict Tinoy tells us why.
Former construction worker Adalberto Madriñal suffered from accident after falling from 18 feet 12 years ago. Madriñal expressed his need for the help from authorities.
Sana matulungan kami mga ganito, mga na-aksidente sa mga construction. Lalo na yung walang mga benefits, walang SS, walang tutulong.
Senator Sherwin Gatchalian proposed a Senate Bill 821 or Construction Workers Insurance Act, where there will be a law that will mandate the insurance coverage of workers. According to Marvin Balanlayos, General Manager of Construction Company, the bill will be a big help for their workers as they are prone to accidents during their duty.
Okay po tayo dyan para po dun sa ating mga construction worker. Dahil po pag nagkakaroon ng mga sakuna, mga accident sa mga building, sila po yung unang tinatamaan. Bali, meron naman po mga existing na. Kailangan lang po sigurong i-check ng ating mga authority.
Nagkaisa Coalition Attorney Sani Matula also expressed his support on the proposed bill as it will add benefits for the welfare of workers.
Napakaganda po yung proposal ni Senadora Gatchalian at ako'y natutuwa na may panukala ngayon sa Senado patungkol dito sa coverage ng construction workers insurance. Yung sa kasalukuyan naman ay mga minimum standards yan as provided by law. But our employers can provide higher benefits, so like this additional coverage of insurance for construction workers.
Since June of this year, there are numerous cases involving construction workers getting into accidents. The reason why Senator Gatchalian has insisted to pass the bill the soonest possible time. Bernadette Tino, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the office of the 2023 Bar Exams Chairperson, Supreme Court Associate Justice Ramon Paul Hernando, has released the schedule for next year's bar examinations. The digitalized exams will be on September 17, 20, and 24, 2023 in different local testing centers in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Bar Chair Justice Hernando said the earlier conduct of the examinations means an earlier release of examination results, and successful bar examinees can start their practice of law as early as December 2023.
Pag-asa has forecasted that a low-pressure area or LPA might become a tropical cyclone in the coming days as it enters the Philippine area of responsibility. The State Weather Bureau said the LPA was last spotted around 870 kilometers east of Mindanao. It is also expected to bring cloudy skies, scattered rains and thunderstorms over Mindanao, eastern and central Visayas, as well as Bicol region. Pag-asa also reported that the low-pressure area is expected to approach eastern Visayas and Caraga on Friday, December 9.
Our kasambahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 14, verse 20. It says, Brethren, be not children in understanding. Howbeit in malice be ye children, but in understanding be men. And those are the reasons behind the news, December 8, 2022. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Hardy Delgado.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.